Today is April 21st, 2020, and we're up here on the deck, and we're continuing on with the update. So the first one here is my Sedum, what we think is Adolphii. It's been struggling a little bit over this past winter because I kind of ignored it, and it sort of bloomed, but all the blooms were infested with mealies. So it didn't really bloom well. Because of my neglect this year, I think it sort of lost quite a bit of leaves. So I think what I need to do is cut some of these bare branches and stick them back into the pot so they'll look a little bit fuller. But other than that, it looks pretty nice. It has it's put on quite a bit of a good color. So yeah, so that's why that one. We move down here. This first one that I thought was a Matucana, but somebody pointed out that it could be actually a Nodal Cactus or some sort of Parodia. It's doing well. It looks like it's about to bloom soon with all those buds on top there. It has a little baby there. So as you can see, as I zoom in, there are quite a bit of little baby cactus or cacti growing around the base of the plant. So that happened because one of the flowers here, I guess, got pollinated and it produced a fruit, and the seeds from those fruit got dispersed at some point in the soil, and after I repotted up to this bigger pot, it germinated and we got a whole bunch of babies there. So that's really cool. I don't think I'm going to keep all of them, but I'll keep them now as they are little tiny pups. Moving on, this is my Sedum Hernandez Ii. After repotting this succulent, it's exploded in growth, so there's so many leads now. This is one of the ones that were kind of like on the verge of death, but they kind of brought it back because I paid attention to it more, and so now we got a whole bunch of them. I actually had a few leaf propagated downstairs in my grow space, and it's actually taking, so I actually even have more than that. So here we have my Echeveria porposorum, is I think how you say that. As you can see, it's actually in flower right now, or in bud, which is really nice because I've never seen it in flower. This would be the first time. So I don't know what it actually looks like, but just looking at the color developing on the buds there, it looks like it might be a pretty nice show. Here we have a Echeveria orange Monroe. It's grown out of a spot, so I think I'm gonna have to think about potting this as well pretty soon. And up here we have my Echeveria Monocerotis that's variegated. As you can see, there's quite a lack in variegation there. It's lost its variegation except for that one leaf over here. It has like a tiny little streak. But yeah, otherwise it's doing well. And here is my Dominos Cactus. It looks like there's a bud forming there. Right there. So this one, I don't know the specific name of it, but I think I may have found it, and I forgot to write the tag on it. But anyways, I'm still gonna call it as the Dominos Cactus, just because that's what it was labeled as when I purchased it. It's gotten really big now, and the baby as well. We had some torrential rain in the past few days, so it plumped back up quite a bit. And at one point I was kind of worried about it getting way too much water, so I brought it in my bedroom for like overnight, just to make sure that it doesn't get rain on any more than it already has. So that's why it looks pretty plump. Moving on, this is Echeveria Goldwyn. Doesn't look very gold to me, but it's doing well. It's putting on 2 new rosettes on the bottom there. So eventually it will have to be divided out because I don't think this pot will be able to handle that many growths. Here is a Graptopedilum bellum. This one I purchased only because the flowers on it are very, very pretty, but hasn't seen it flowered in since that one time that I purchased it. But right now it's starting to put out some growth underneath the base there, of the plant there. But this one had a tough time. All the leaves were pretty leathery and dry and wrinkly, but it's doing much better now. So yeah, I'm hoping this year it will do it, but I don't quite remember what exactly the last time it bloomed. It's first in the year, but I'm hoping it's the spring or maybe late summer. And here we have my Adenium obesum potted up in this large bonsai dish. It's kind of defoliated now because of winter, but if I look closely, there are buds that's forming. I hope the camera can pick it up. There you go. Other than that, it's just doing okay. It's just the cycle that it goes through of defoliating and then putting back on new leaves. Some of them are starting already over there on the tip of the branches. But yeah, has a little nice caudex, if you can call it that, forming the base. I need to put some more gravel on top there. It's just being washed away. But down here is a dog that I need to... Sorry. Down here we have a my Greptopetalum pentandrum, subspecies pentandrum. It's been growing pretty lanky lately, so I've chopped all the branches off and stuck it back into the pot. You can see that there's some sunburn. I think it was a little bit too intense there, so I didn't have time to acclimate everything. All the leaves in the pot there that sort of fell off, and I decided to just put it in there in case it propagates, and I'll just have more growing leaves, so it'll look nice and full. Yeah, so the next part I'm just going to talk about some of the plants over here in my square planters. Here we have my Promiscuous Cristatus variety. I'm going to try to pronounce the variety name. It's Schoenlandii, I think. And this plant has been struggling quite a bit. So recently I repotted into this particular pot to give it more room, because previously it was in a very tiny, tall clay pot. I don't think it was doing very well, so hoping for the better growing year this year in this pot. Here we have my Echeveria lovely rose that got a little sunburn as well. This one I thought I might have lost it because the original plant kind of defoliated and rotted off, but these were propagated from some of those leaves. They're actually doing well now. Moving on, this is the name is way too long for me to pronounce, so I'll just put it on the screen anyways. It's been pretty purple. It's been developing quite a bit of anthocyanin or whatever that is, that purplish hue that it has. I'm not sure if the roots are shot or not since I've recently repotted this, but it looks like the stem of it has been pretty, like, it's less plump than I remember. Those are the extra leaves from my Greptopetalum titivan that's variegated. Also was recently cut off and repotted because the growth was way too long. It was kind of hanging over the pot here, so kind of did that, and as a result I lost quite a bit of leaves, and I just put it in there hoping that it'll propagate, but it looks like it did not take. Here we have my Mammillaria plumosa, also recently repotted into something else that's bigger. Sedum rubro-tinctum, again also recently chopped off and repotted into its own pot. And this one is a relatively new one that I don't think I've ever featured on my any of my videos. But I got this last year as I think it was just one of those things that I just happened to see in the corner of my eyes. But the foliage on the leaves is what drew me. Anyways, this is a Kalanchoe Humilis, and it is putting out a couple of inflorescence, which I don't know what the flower will look like. but they look pretty cool so far. Moving down here, we have my Sedum Hernandez Ii, looking alright, I guess. I forgot the name of this one, some sort of euphorbia. It looks like new growth is sort of starting to cover up the pot there. So I will have to eventually repot this into something that has a little bit more surface area, because I kind of hate it when plants just occlude the pot there and you can't really water it well. Here we have Tylicodon, looking really lanky, especially this branch. I think I'm going to chop that off and put it back into the pot. Next one here is Adromiscus, it's labeled Hemisphericus. I was researching online as I was making these lollipop tags, but they don't seem like what I Google. The leaves looks like something else. But anyways, that's how I bought it as. This is a cactus, Cactus Cristatus, I think. Yeah, just doing its thing. Don't know what the name of this one is. I think I bought it as a no ID, or I had the ID, but I lost the tag, so I have no idea what it is. Also going to be on the chopping block to make sure these branches get stuck back into the pot. I did a poor job growing it because it lost quite a bit of leaves. That's partly why it's so lanky. This one is pretty newish. It's my first mellow cactus. Also something I've wanted for quite a while because I like that really weird growth that it has on top of it. But yeah, just kind of growing. This one is a Corpuscularia Lemonii. Getting pretty long, but this one I will not be cutting it off because they're putting out branches along the growths here, so it should make itself fuller in due time. Here's my one of my moonstones. That's the regular form, Pachyphytum ovivarum, growing really tall now. Not really sure what I'm going to do here. I might put it in a taller pot to accommodate the stem here. I kind of don't like these stems that show these bare stems. I might just like cover it up or something, unless something grows along it. I kind of don't like that look, especially in this plant. But I do like it in this one. This is a Cotyledon orbiculata. Doing well, growing really tall now, but like I said, I kind of like that look on this particular plant. Echeveria bashful. I believe it's a hybrid. It looks really nice with its wine color leaves, rosettes, or whatever. And the stems on here is nice and thick, so they look pretty cool. And here is my Aloe Thicket. Don't know if it's doing well or not. Just feeling the leaves, it feels very thin and dry, and I believe the leaves are supposed to be nice and plump. I'm not sure if this is like it's trying to shed some leaves or not, but yeah, I'm not sure how well it's doing. I believe this is Cotyledon tomentosa, the bear paw that's variegated. Defoliated over last winter, and now we're just kind of working on regrowing all of these back. Yeah, it's doing better now. That is what's left over of my Graptopetalum, I think, or Echeveria rainbow number 5. This looks really, really pretty right now, but this one was a result of a leaf propagation from the original plant that actually died. And I was hoping I have some variegation back, but most of these looks like they don't. If I move back over here, I do see there is a variegated growth, but it looks like it's all variegated. That means it might not survive on its own. So that's a shame, but I'm gonna, keep it going just to hope that eventually it will bring back its variegation. And lastly, up here we have my pencil cactus. It's grown back to almost about the same size that it was before I left it out in the cold over one winter, and it killed it back quite a bit. So we're doing good. Nice colors. Alright, so that will wrap up the part 2 of this update. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Bye.